I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back, guys, and we are here live with another episode of Live With. I'm Dave Palumbo, and of course, we're joined today by our NPC USA light heavyweight champion. He's a new IFBB pro, and the man I'm talking about is McShan. Welcome.
How you doing, Dave?
Congratulations on the big win and that IFBB pro card. I know you've been working for the last 10 years. Very hard to earn that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being on the show with you.
You know, Andre, I love, obviously this is you're a great success story, of course, and you won your pro card, and you deserve this interview more than anything, but you have a really good story about how you got into bodybuilding, and I think that, to me, when I hear these inspirational stories, and when I hear about how a single person influenced someone so greatly and to achieve such greatness, I think it's important to mention, because you know what, we're all constantly influencing other people, and I think that if you can pass it or pay it forward, I think that that's an important thing. Tell us the story about how you got into bodybuilding.
I got into bodybuilding, so I actually known Chris Cramer since I was 15, but he always kind of been like that father figure to us. I never met my dad, so Chris was actually the first bodybuilder I ever met, and he just kind of took over the role.
Where'd you meet him, first of all?
So how I met Chris is I was going to the gym with one of my sisters. Her husband's in the military, so it was a on-base gym.
Right.
And then this military guy came up to me and said, "Hey, are you a bodybuilder?" And I said, what is that? And he said, well, what you're doing is considered bodybuilding. Yeah. So I went home and I got on Google and I typed in a real bodybuilder. Yeah. And Chris popped up because his name is The Real Deal.
Right. That's so funny. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And I messaged him on Facebook and he responded like within a minute. And my mom was like, stop messaging that guy. That's probably some pedophile or something. Ain't no way in hell somebody's going to be messaging you of his stature. And Chris gave me his number, so I blocked my number and I called him, man. Yeah. I was like, Chris, and he just bust out laughing like, yeah, it's really me. It's me.
That's Chris. Chris does stuff like that. You definitely can see him doing that, yeah.
Yes, sir. And then when I was in 10th grade, I was writing an essay, and my teacher named Ms. Steinbach was like, she looked at my form, and it was just swollen because she had us doing so much writing. I got vascular as hell. And she was like, Andre, do you compete? And I said, compete in what? She was like, bodybuilding. I was like, you talking about the guys in their underwear? And she was like, yeah.
Hold on. You're in 10th grade? And
yes.
Your teacher actually knew what a bodybuilder was, in other words.
Yes.
And she thought, did you play sports or anything like that at that time?
I played football, I did track, and I did marching band. I played the tuba for all 4 years. Oh, wow. And I also did powerlifting.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so you obviously had a muscular-looking physique. You weren't just some kid sitting in class. I
was already curling 135 on straight barbell curls in 9th grade.
Wow. And so you didn't really know what bodybuilding per se as a sport was?
No.
Other than the fact that you were friends with Chris Cormier, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, just friends with Chris. I saw Ronnie in the magazines and stuff, but that was about it. I never really investigated into it much more.
Right.
So actually Chris has a very similar story of mine. It's like we had the same story because he had a teacher help him too. So what my teacher did for me is she introduced me to one of her guy friends named Daniel. He owns the Metroplex in San Marcos. And Daniel told me about all the NPC and stuff. So I went and Googled it, and it's like you got to have the NPC card. You got to have this membership, and you got the entry fee, and then the whole hotel. And I was just like, whoa. So I went to Miss Steinbach and I said, hey, this is too expensive. And my mom taught me like needs before wants, and this sounds more like something I want to do, not something I need to do.
Right.
And
Your mom's like, there's no freaking way I'm dishing out $500 for you to do this bodybuilding show to win a trophy.
Yeah.
And probably your parents had no understanding of bodybuilding anyway. Most parents don't.
Yeah.
You know?
How serious it is and whatnot, especially if you got potential to actually do something.
Yeah.
So we got about 6 weeks out from the first show in Temple, the Central Texas Showdown, and she called me up to her desk, said, "Hey, Andre, come here." So I went up there and said, "Hey, what's up, Miss Steinbach?" And she was like, "Wait right here." And she went to her cabinet where she keeps her purse and her microwave, and she handed me $500.
Wow.
Cash. And she was like, "Andre, you take this money, you do that show, you're going to be one of the best in the world."
Really?
And from 10th grade to my senior year, I ranked up 22 first place titles. I got the Alley of the Year award by Pose Down magazine. I got on Crave Fit magazine with William Young. And I also got qualified for the Arnold Amateur at 19 years old by winning the overall. And I also won the overall for the Heart of Texas at age 18. I won the Lone Star overall. So it was just, and I also skipped my high school prom because we had the Texas Shredder out here that was promoted by Dave Gooden. It was a drug-free show because Dave Gooden was like, "Hey, everybody talking trash about you and stuff. You know, they like, you're too big to be 19 this big."
Yeah.
He said, "Come tell these guys what a natural team bodybuilder look like."
Yeah.
So we had to take our drug test like 4 days before the show, and it was a big, long test because if we failed, we basically weren't granted to go to weigh-in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I passed the drug test. I went weighed in. I weighed in at like 152 and just won the whole show.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you were like 200 pounds. I mean, come on. You just had very good shape, and your conditioning was amazing. I saw the pictures. Yeah, that's incredible. Sir. You have those? Did you have those on your Instagram at all? Those pictures?
Yes, I got a couple up there, especially when I was at the Phil Heath Classic. I was 19 years old. Sean Reed was the MC there.
Right.
And I had won that show there. I took second in the lightweight, and the lightweight actually won the overall that year. He weighed in, I think, 150. His name was Alan Powell.
Wow.
I mean, I had a physique similar to like a mini Ronnie. I went on that year to the Teen Nationals where I took second. And then from there, after that show, I went to qualify for the Arnold Amateur.
Who did you take? Did you take second? Who did you take second behind in that show?
It was Joshua Vogel.
I remember that. I remember that actually. That's what I used to go to those shows. Those were great. That was like 10 years. Yeah, that was like 10 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, right? Something like that.
It was 2013. Cody had won overall.
Yeah, I was there at that show. I remember. Yeah, that's funny. And so you kept going and building, and you know what was your mindset now? Did you at that point say, "Hey, I want to be a pro bodybuilder"? Was that like something that you wanted in your wheelhouse, or were you still just thinking, "I'm doing this as kind of like a hobby thing"?
Absolutely. I always wanted to be a pro. Like I just didn't have the right mentors to show me what I needed to do to go pro because I never knew about like the national shows that you had to do. So I was ranking up all these first place trophies, thinking the more trophies I had was going to turn me pro.
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you got to go to nationals. And I was like, so you mean to tell me I did these 8 shows for nothing in a row?
Yeah, exactly. Experience.
Yeah, so,
stage experience, very important. I tell people that all the time, man. Do your shows when you just get started to get that experience, because once you get to that upper level, you can't go backwards. You can't place at the USA and then go and do the local Mr. Long Island show, because then you look like a trophy hunter. So you did it right. You got all that stage experience. Then you went to the national level when you were ready. What was your first national show?
Well, of course, Teen Nationals, but for the pro card.
Yeah, I mean, for the pro qualifier was.
That was in 2015. I was in a lightweight. And that was the year Cody went pro. That was 2015 at the USA. Right. I took 4th in the lightweight.
Wow. So you went from, in 5 or 6 years, you went from the lightweight class up to the light heavyweight class.
Yes, sir. And in 2018, I placed 4th in the welterweight. 2019, I placed 9th place in the middleweight. Mm-hmm. And I placed 3rd at the North American last year. And basically just placed 1st place in light heavyweight at the USA. So I basically feel like I did a Ronnie Coleman because I went from 9th place at the USA in 2019 to just leapfrogging.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is?
Yeah,
You have a big frame, so I think that your body looks better, bigger, actually, you know. So,
yeah. I was sucking down way too low.
yeah. But I mean, that's called amateur mistakes, and now you're not an amateur anymore. You're a pro, so now you can't make those mistakes anymore.
No, sir. Only up from here.
Yeah. Getting you to the USA in that light heavyweight class and winning, who was instrumental in helping you do that?
Oh, Chris. Me and Chris and my wife. I mean, we was in it day in, day out, you know. Chris had caught COVID last year and stuff. He lost his dad to it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was very bad and whatnot.
Sure.
I kind of felt bad for him. I was like, hey, you know, we can focus on something else. And he insisted, like, no, we're going to get this, you know, we're going to move forward and whatnot, you know. He's in a better place, so let's focus on this pro card and whatnot. So he was like, you don't know how to execute? I'm going to show you how.
Yeah.
And he basically showed me how to execute. He was making it work on video chat. Me and my wife went to the show, the Cramer Classic in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And he put me through the ringer. I mean, it was just 1 week of all-out hell training. I mean, don't mess with that guy. Do not mess with that guy. And
we got a question. We got a question in the live feed. They want to know what kept you motivated to get the pro card after doing 30 plus shows, and what's the hardest part during prep for you?
Like, what kept me motivated? Like, basically, I got 31 first place titles, but most of those came like from my teen year because I was winning the teen class, I was winning the adult class, and also taking a lot of the overalls. Like, I was taking majority of the overalls.
Right.
But what really kept me motivated is just like, you know, I really believed in myself. I always knew I can do this. I saw the potential. It's just like you were saying, those amateur mistakes that was just really sabotaged me. It's like I would look like I can be Mr. Universe or whatever 4 weeks out, and then I get to a show and it's like, where did it go? So, you know, Chris really helped me fine-tune it and understand, you know, like, you need to do this, need to do that, you know, don't stress over this. This is part of the process, so trust in the process more and finally execute it. And also my wife keeps me motivated because, you know, like I tell people, I just left the weights and eat the food. She has to carry all those boulders that goes on behind the scene.
It's a team effort. You know, what's funny is that, you know, it's almost amazing. I mean, you're 27 years old. I mean, you've been talking to Chris Cramer, you know, before you even thought of even competing as a bodybuilder, and he's still in your life and influencing you. It's almost like he's like an angel on your shoulder in a sense, because he was always that guiding force right there, you know, and the guy you could always ask the question to, and that's awesome to have that available, you know. And then it's a great feel good story because it ended, you know, at such a high note with you winning your pro card.
Yes, sir. And he was actually there in attendance at the show. Like, as soon as I got the pro card, he came, snatched me up backstage, and I just fell in his arm like a happy child and just cried. Like,
he's got to be like a proud parent almost, you know, on this one, for sure.
He was.
Yeah. Now, what's the? I saw you jumped into a pro show. Did you jump into Tampa this past weekend?
Oh no! Right now, I'm just gonna take some time off, just improve the physique, and then me and Chris will decide on the first pro debut.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say you had no desire to just automatic, because you could have done a 212 show easily. I mean, with the way you looked coming off the USA victory. Yeah. What's the goal? Is the goal to get heavier or to stay in that 212 range?
I'm gonna stay within that 212 range. Of course, like, my heaviest weight was 225, and I actually came down to, and Chris was kind of freaked out because I came down to 189 intentionally.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, oh, you're way too small, you know, we gotta fill out. And that's what we made a mistake last year, because my body's very sensitive.
Yeah.
So we started carving up last year for North American on a Tuesday, and I was ready by Thursday morning. I mean, I could have won the whole show. I was just so dropped dead. But the show was Saturday. So the USA had weigh-in on Thursday and prejudging was Friday. So I was like, I'm going to come down to 189. Everybody else is going to be starving to make weight on Thursday.
Yeah. And
I'm going to get to carb up on Wednesday starting at 189. So literally I went from 189 to close to 200 from one day of carb up.
Oh, wow. So your body fills up very quickly is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I fell asleep and woke up Thursday morning at 196 and made weight. Then I had all the rest of Thursday to carb up, and I got over 200.
Yeah. And
at prejudge on Friday, I was 197. And at final Saturday, I was 195, drier and harder.
Wow. Well, you had a great look. How tall are you actually?
I'm about 5'6.5", close to 5'7".
Okay, so I mean, you could fit in that 212, but you're young. You're 27. I imagine at some point you want to go up to the open class, and I
Yes,
know
sir.
Chris is probably pushing you for that because you
Yes,
want to
sir.
compete against the best in the world, right?
Yes, because I'm motivated just like Hadi Troopman is, because I'm like, everybody can call themselves Mr. Olympia or Miss this and stuff. Mr. Olympia gets a standout trophy, and that's what I'm chasing.
Right.
If we got that standout trophy at the house, then we're Mr. Olympia. Big Ramy's Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
From Larry Scott. We all understand what Mr. Olympia resembled, and the ultimate Mr. Olympia is having that standout at the house. And I know Chris gonna push me there. We're gonna push the limit and stuff, and we don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know I'm in the right hands. I got Chris, I got my wife by my side. We're gonna push to the top. So start out in the 212 and work our way to the open.
What are you heading towards next year? Have you picked a show yet?
Not yet, really. Like, I've been looking at the calendar, so I know for sure I need a decent amount of time off to just kind of improve. Like, I know my back can be brought up, and a little bit more hamstring glutes and stuff. Once I get those in, I know we'll have a daily physique. So probably sometime either late next year or so, if not possibly 2023. But I honestly feel like we'll be ready either mid or close to late next year.
Awesome. All right, I got one more question for you, then I'm going to let you go. But that
Yes, sir.
$500 that your teacher gave you, did you pay it back?
Yes, sir. About to pay it back and stuff. And I also told her when I do that pro debut, I'm going to have her right there if she can make it, because she has like some health issues where she has to be like on a brain monitor. So she haven't really seen me compete, but we always stay in touch.
That's awesome.
But I told her if she's in good health and stuff, going to have her right there and whatnot, and everything paid for. She ain't got to pay for anything.
That's awesome. I love
Yes,
it. What
sir.
a great feel-good story, man. That's why
Yes,
teachers
sir.
are so important in today's society. You got to influence the young people coming up, because it really does. She changed your life. Chris Cormier changed your life, and you know what? Congratulations on the huge win, and I think you're going to have a very bright future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate you.
And thanks for reaching out to me. For now, though, we are out of time, guys. I'm Dave Palumbo with Andre McShan. We'll see you next time. Good interview, man.